Okay, welcome back to another fantastic update on Archmage Rises, the greatest role-playing game ever made. Otherwise, we're wasting our time and we're wasting yours by you watching it. How you doing, Nick?
Fantabulous.
Okay. I see you're inventing words as we go. This week, we're going to give you an update on the game. We're going to talk about how a simulator version of random encounters is entirely different from any other role-playing game. We're going to do some fan feedback, talk about the next build. Here's Nick.
I'm back.
Yeah, there he is. And as I predicted, last week's update was the lowest views out of anything. So what does that tell you, Nick?
It tells you that I'm a huge star, Thomas. And
You
the
are
people want to see me.
It's true.
With my frazzled hair.
It's true that I can't do this on my own. It's obvious. The people have spoken through their views on YouTube. So you're back. So we're gonna get hundreds and hundreds of people watching the video now. So that's great.
Yeah, right. Last week's update was awesome. I don't know what the deal was.
I don't know.
Got a ton done.
I don't know. Maybe it's an extraordinarily powerful social network you have.
Yeah.
But before we get into things, I have something that I need to get off my chest. I got a new haircut, and Nick, you haven't said anything about it.
Well, it's beautiful. It speaks for itself, Thomas.
I'm just feeling like you don't care anymore. Like I'm over here, and you're over there in Portland, and it's like we don't even talk anymore.
Thomas, you know I love your hair. Okay.
Okay.
You know that.
Okay. We got that. We got that settled. That's good. Anyway, I have something kind of cool to show you. Show everybody. Okay, this is the first of its kind. It's the Archmage Rises mini fridge. So the story with this thing is, if somebody goes back, if you look at the very first video update, you'll see that the mini fridge had this giant beer thing on there. Okay, and I'm not a huge fan of beer, so I was like, what is this? Like, my wife won this mini fridge at a golf tournament, and there's nothing on the box that says anything special about it. It's just a little mini fridge, and I open it up and it's got this giant beer logo like on it and this beer bottle and whatever, and I was like, anyway, that's not really me, right? So anyways, I had it there for a little bit and I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, I think that's a sticker. So I was able to like pull it off, and I was like, what if I could get an Archmage Rises sticker made? I'm like, now what would be better than a gold box mini fridge? Come on, look at that, the gold box mini fridge. So
That's beautiful.
there you go. Yeah, my shadow's in the way.
Does your waters or your Canadian dries, do they taste extra enchanted?
They are magical coming out of that gold box role-playing fridge. There you go. You can't beat that, everybody. So I guess I'll put that up. So if somebody wants to pre-order the top-level pre-order where I come out and I run a role-playing game right at your house with you and your friends, I'll bring the mini fridge.
I don't think that'll count as carry-on, Thomas.
Pardon?
I don't think will count as carry-on.
No. Actually, I'll probably just get it drop shipped, and you can apply the decal yourself. How lazy is that? It was actually really hard to put on a decal that's big.
Really?
I spent an inordinate amount of time getting it on there, and the game is delayed because of it. So there you go.
I'm glad you have your priorities straight, Thomas.
Well, I do. So now's a good time then to talk about the schedule. So how are you doing on the schedule? We have a feature completion date of January 24th, 2018. Yeah, 2018, that's next year. And how are you doing against what were you scheduled for this week?
Map. It's been map for a couple weeks. It'll be map for a couple weeks later.
Well,
so
if you
far,
stop taking weeks off, then you would get the task done.
Exactly. If you just put vacations in the middle, you're always on track, Thomas.
These are the kind of highbrow project management things that I learned through my Microsoft certification course, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you don't take weeks off, the tasks get done sooner.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're working on map, and how's that going?
Yep. It's going good.
You're a man of many words, Nick. That must be why your social media is so powerful.
Well, I don't have anything to show for it today. Most of the stuff has been on improving a lot of stuff like pathing, and we've been working together on a few things for the feature we're doing today.
Yep.
So for next week.
Okay. And for myself, I gave the update last week that I'd actually made up 2 days, which I can't believe. I worked other crazy amount last week. This week's been a pretty normal week, and by normal I mean slow and not getting anything done. So right now I'm working on the problem system. That's what we call it. It's not a very good name. Simulator-driven encounters. That's a better name for it. And I've been working on that. We're going to show a little bit of that to everybody in a second. But overall, I'm still 2 days behind, and I hope tomorrow to make up some of that time on Saturday if my wife and family will give me the time to do so. So that's where we stand. But so far, no more schedule slippage.
If you got a better name for that encounter system, let us know.
Yeah, post it on Facebook or in the YouTube comments, and if it's a good name, we'll probably start using it. That's right, we're going to crowdsource all of our marketing buzzwords. Cutco. That's from The Simpsons.
Okay. I couldn't remember the reference.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's get into our update. This week, I am going to be showing you basically what we call random encounters. But here's the thing, Nick. See, I told the people way back when all I had was a single-page website and a Gamma Sutra article that a lot of people saw. I told them there weren't going to be random encounters in this game. So if I was to show random encounters, that makes me a big fat liar. And I don't really like to be a big fat liar, like especially when the video is recording and I'm about to post it. So I said no random encounters, and now I'm going to start cutting hairs, slicing hairs, choppity chop, and say why it is that Archmage doesn't really have random encounters. When I said that there weren't going to be random encounters, what I didn't know was random encounters make the game a lot more fun. That's basically it. So when you're traveling around and nothing happens, so that's not very fun. And a lot of role-playing games are, whether it's tabletop or on the computer, is just like, you know, exciting things kind of pop up. There's interesting things happen and stuff. And so when I said no random encounters, I was talking more about the Final Fantasy. Like, you got to get from A to B, and you can't because there's like 37 random combats that don't mean anything that you got to get through in order to get to B, and then you can finally do what you want at B, and then you got to like come back. That's really what I was talking about. And also random encounters that are, whether they're scripted or just randomly generated or something, there's just these things that are like in the way, and they don't tie back to anything. And like, I'm really stressing like the random aspect of them. Like, they don't mean anything. They're just something purely to delay the character. In writing or screenplay writing, we call that false action. So there's a lot of false action in role-playing games, and I'm like, nope, not here, not gonna have it, don't want it. But then I was like, we need to have real action. So I'm going to show what is different about Archmage when you have a simulator running in the background, and how random encounters can be done differently and better. So let's switch over to that. Okay, so here we are in the game, and now I'm going to show how the simulator will create random encounters. So we're going to imagine that there are, behind the scenes, there's reasons why something like bandits would occur. And so if there was a dragon and I was a farmer and it came and it burned up all my fields, I'm going to jump straight to thievery. I'm going to admit that. There's no other job choices for me. I'm a farmer. How does that translate to anything else valuable in the kingdom? I'm going to jump straight to thievery. So for whatever those reasons are, the simulator decides that people have turned into bandits. It's going to create the pressure that ends up creating bandits. And so I'm just going to click the button and make that happen. And bam, we got a bandit camp up in the mountains, Nick. There it is.
I see him.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
And so what has happened is because of the population creating bandits, those bandits then chose a location along this road. And so you can see the thief icons showing up on the road. And they are smart bandits, and they hid up into the mountains. And they are causing problems to the hexes around them. Now, different types of problems or characters or monsters, whatever, will have different rules as to how they spread across the map. Bandit camps just affect the hexes around them, at least right now, because there shall be no spoilers in these video updates. So I don't want somebody playing the game and going, I know that those bandit camps don't spread. But for now, they don't spread. And so they are next to the road, and what that means is any traffic going along this road, whether it's the player or it's NPCs or traders, they will interfere with those with the traffic that's going along here. And so one of the ways that we calculate that is based on the population level. And so right now I have colors like this kind of dark reddish color means very low population of bandit activity. And so I'm just going to move around on the map, and you're going to see that bandit activity, it's getting lighter and lighter green. It's actually affecting the town. And so they're really focusing on the town. So as time is passing, the bandits are kind of reproducing, recruiting, and increasing the level of bandit activity along the road. And so if I was to travel now to this part of the road, it just made an encounter check at 36% population, so nobody came and attacked me. And so now I'm still at 36%. Okay, so now the bandit population got so high that it spawned us into a combat, and I'm just going to very quickly get rid of this guy and blast him. Okay, so this is not final combat, this is just a demo example of combat. And now I go back to our map, and when we see on the map here is this spot is now blank. What that means is because I won that encounter against the bandits, the population or the bandit activity has gone down, and that hex is now free. And so your activities versus the bandits will decide how it affects the rest of the world. And what that means is people can now freely travel along that hex. Now, it's not going to get all mundane where you have to go and travel every single possible hex. The point is that the player, through interaction with NPCs, talking to them, is going to find out that, hey, there were some bandits here, and there were some bandits here. And so the player can go and use that information in order to deduce where maybe the bandit camp is going to be, and you can investigate the hexes. And if you find the hex with the bandit camp, I mean, I have it turned on right now in dev mode so I can actually see where it is. But once you deduce where the bandit camp is, you go there, wipe it out, and bam, no more bandit problems. Mm-hmm. Isn't that cool, Nick?
That's great. Yeah, that's totally cool.
What do you like about this system?
First of all, I like that you can, like investigate in a free way. Like there's, there are different clues you're going to get. Like maybe somebody gets hurt along the road and they say that was bandits. So you can talk to them, find out where it was, and start, trying to figure out or map out where you think they are to solve that problem. So I think to me, it seems like a pretty cool emergent system. Like you said before, the icons and stuff here are just for dev testing, but I think the idea is cool that that everything has a cause and effect.
Yeah, and tying it into last week's update with the news system. So, like these little icons are representing news points, right? So that's how the news system ties in with the map. At the end of the day, this whole thing will all tie together. The problem that we have right now is showing you pieces along the way, and it's kind of like flying half an airplane. It just doesn't feel as good as when the whole airplane will be done. Mm-hmm. So Scott writes on last week's update showing the news system and how the NPCs can all share rumors and information with each other. And he says, this living world aspect is actually pretty cool, but regarding that brutal honesty stuff that you mentioned wanting, and I did, he says, I don't know how alive your visuals will end up, but such static graphics for such a dynamic world will no doubt lose some interest for some, and he includes himself there. So I want to thank Scott for that feedback, and I think he's right. It's actually been a challenge. We've had some new people come and look at the game, and they've said a similar kind of thing since last week's update, and so I was always planning on making the visuals better and adding what's called juice to the game later on and such. We're just trying to get this thing working, folks. So, but I think he's right, and it's time to start getting the animation and stuff in there. It's just so people can have visuals that are telling the same story as the data behind the scene and stuff. And so we are now looking for an animator, a 2D animator, visual effects person to come and join us on the team. If you know someone like that, contact us. You can do that by going to the archmagerises.com website and putting it in there, or Facebook, or Twitter, or Carrier Pigeon. If you want to show up at my house, I live at 1808 Shore Road, Richards Landing, Ontario. We do a little interview. And anyway, so we are now looking for an animator. I have 4 people I've already contacted about that, and we're going to be selecting an animator hopefully by the end of next week. And we're going to be able to show some cool stuff. Take the artwork that we have, put some bones to it, and start animating it, something like Spine or Anima 2D or something else. So thanks for the feedback, and there you go. We're going to hire someone because you complain so much. Okay, next fan feedback comes
from some guy.
Okay, next fan feedback comes from some guy, and he posts talking about some possible bugs. He's really polite. This is one of the nicest people I've met on the internet. Some guy. So he doesn't want to say for sure they're bugs. He just wants to say there's possibility that there's bugs. Well, let me tell you something, some guy. There are bugs. And it sounds like he's hit a lot of them. And so I think there's problems with our game saving and loading for sure. And probably some other problems with the placement of quest items and all that stuff. And so anyways, I just want to say that we are going to do a new release on the end of this month, the 28th of February. Because we said in December that we would do a release in February, and that's the last possible moment to do it. So we're going to do a release on the 28th, and we are going to address these bugs that you talk about, some guys. So thanks for putting those there. And it's always helpful when people put them. He was concerned about like, I don't want to duplicate post and stuff. But sometimes just the way people write, like they write it slightly differently, and then that gives us maybe a new indication or makes us think of something else or whatever. So it's always helpful when people report these things. It's better to report them than to be silent on them. So yeah, new version is coming on the 28th, and we'll get that out, and hopefully that will fix a bunch of those bugs. As far as new features go, for sure we'll have the trading interface that you've seen a couple episodes ago will be in there, and some of this other new stuff like the news system and this Bandit Camp thing I just showed you. I don't know. Because I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get all these things ready for players. There's a whole different level of readiness versus getting it working for us and getting it working for players. So can't comment on that, but next week we'll know more about where we stand with the new features. Anything to add to that, Nick?
Nope. Covered it.
Okay. Well, that concludes our update. You too can have an Archmage Rises mini fridge. And we want to thank everybody who's pre-ordered. We got a bunch of pre-orders, and that really helps to paying Nick's wage.
Yay, thank you.
It does. It helps. Every month my wife and I have to come up with the money to pay Nick, and there's slightly less money we have to come up with paying Nick when it comes to the pre-order money coming in. I just got an email from Humble saying that they just deposited the money to our account, so you should see it in a couple days. So that's always great news, and we appreciate that, and thanks for being a part of this journey with us. Bye!
Thanks, bye.